Come with me on the trip through the galaxy. Fly high away from misery. Come with me on the trip through the galaxy, but your feet won't leave the ground.
So select you that are already initiated. You already know what this is. And for those of you that aren't, just chill. See, we gonna get to know this stuff in a minute. But what I'm always trying to get everybody to understand is everything is vibration. So, hey, we got a vibe to catch. And by my estimation, we late. That's the good. I'm gonna be your guy. Unfortunately for you, I'm the coolest one in the whole cosmos, baby. That's the good.
With me on the trip through the galaxy. Fly high away from misery. Come with me on the trip through the galaxy. Fly high away from misery.
That's the good. Somewhere along this trip, man, you gonna realize that it's about that time you open your river that can probably take your mind one time. Next stop, Neptune. And you better know how to swim, but you better brought a life jacket, because if not, you bound to drown. And you ain't gotta worry about me. I got deals, baby. That's the good.
With me on the trip through the galaxy. Fly high away from misery. Come with me on the trip through the galaxy. Fly high away from misery.
Yes, sir. That's the city, state, continent, country that you living in, or whatever density or dimension, brother. It's Friday where I'm at. That's the push. What it was, y'all. Y'all know who it is. I'm also there. And y'all tuned in with Priceless Knowledge of Self. And this right here, this ain't nothing but some cosmic insight, man. And I hope everybody feeling good. I hope everybody leveled out and vibing. Okay? Because now, I'm finna take you to the top. You understand? Because this right here, just a little something about those people that have Neptune in that 10th house of their natal chart. Yeah. And before we actually go there, if you don't know my style, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to give y'all a quick breakdown as to what Neptune is in astrology. I'm going to give y'all a quick breakdown about the energy that comes along with it and how it might affect you. Then after that, I'm going to give y'all a quick breakdown of what the 10th house of the astrological chart is actually all about. Did I say the 10th already? Hopefully I said Neptune, but I'm in Neptune. But then second, I'm going to talk about the 10th house. And then after that, we're going to bring it to a climax, which is actually what I do best. And it's also my favorite. Mi favorito. Okay. So I'm going to stop playing. I'm probably not going to stop playing, but I'm going to stop lying. And we're going to get it started, okay? Just chill. Just chill. Okay? So Neptune. Neptune is named after the Roman god of the sea. And it's the modern ruler of the sign of Pisces in the 12th house of the astrological chart. But I'm going to tell you now that if you ask any Vedic astrologer, if you ask any Western astrologer, they're going to tell you that Jupiter rules Pisces in the 12th house. But in this case, when we're talking about the 12th house, they both rule them. But we're not talking about the 12th house. We're talking about Neptune. And another thing to understand about Neptune is considered as the higher octave of Venus. And that's because it's all about compassionate acceptance and unconditional love of all that is, okay? And along with Uranus and Pluto is also what I like to call a transpersonal planet. And that's because it takes us into realms that are beyond rational and logical understanding. In this case, Neptune connects us with the divine. It's the planet of dreams. It's the planet of illusions. It's the planet of fantasies, man. It can, intensify our intuition and our sensitivity, but it can also cloud our perception of reality, whatever that is. And it also is related to me, to photography, to film, to dance, to music, to painting, to poetry. And it also rules over drugs, both those that have the power to heal us and those that have the power to alter our sense of reality, whatever that is. And another thing to understand is that Uranus takes 165 years to traverse the whole zodiac. So that means it spends about 14 years in each sign, which means it's definitely generational in that aspect. And if you know anybody that's seen their Neptune return, I always tell y'all, please shoot them in my direction, because I'd love to have a speak with them. It sure be appreciated. Okay. So, also, when we're talking about Neptune, it's going to come across similarly for those people that were born in that 14-year time frame. For instance, I was born in the Neptune and Capricorn generation, but it's in the 3rd house. Okay. And you see how I just did that? That's a perfect example of Neptune in the 3rd house. Like, things I can do with my voice is nice. It's nice. Okay. But besides that, when we're talking about the house placement, as you just heard me say, that's where it gets personal. And around here, we all about getting personal. Right? Okay. And the house placement, that's going to tell us, what area of life where we might have idealistic and artistic tendencies, as well as where we might be delusional and want to escape reality, whatever that is. And, if we're talking about the aspects, they show what other areas of life are going to be affected by our dreams, or where we might be divinely gifted, as well as where we might not be seeing things as clearly as we should. And, there's a whole vast concept here. Vast as the deep blue sea, pun intended. But we ain't got time for that. So when we're talking about the 10th house, the 10th house is ruled by the planet of Saturn in the sign of Capricorn. And it's one of the angular houses of the 1st, the 4th, the 7th, and the 10th. And it's often called the house of social status. And, it's the highest and most visible point in the whole chart, man. And it's about career. It's about social grouping and, our energy in society as a whole. This is the 10th, man. And with this, you can also think status, think the authority that it conveys, and consequently the role that we take in our community right here, man. And it kind of speaks to any promotions we may receive, any fame we may acquire, and, the type of businesses that we may partake in. But the type of contracts are going to be the 7th house, so don't forget that either. Okay. And with respect to your achievement, the 10th house focuses on how we see ourselves and how the community perceives us as well. Okay. And we really focus on, manifesting ourselves here in this house. And vocation is extremely important here in this house. The 6th is about work. The 10th is about career. The 10th is about public status. The 10th is about the respect that comes along with who you are, you know. And the 10th can also tell you, like, what role will we want to choose and how will we best fit? You know, how much do we really want to achieve in career, in professional goals, and, you know, ambition and motivation. This is all the 10th house stuff, man. And let me also say that in a more practical context, employers and the government, they can be represented here as well. So it really revolves around us ruling over others and those who may be able to rule over us. And the 10th house can also be all about ego gratification. And the question of, you know, how will we manage the gifts and the status that come along with the 10th, man? You understand? And just remember that not all of us are cut out for success on the grand scale. Not all of us are made to be famous, and not all of us want to be famous. And some of us that don't want to be famous end up being famous. And it goes back and forth and so on and so forth. But when you want to look at that, look at the planets in the 10th, and that's going to tell you what type of person and what type of energy you have to deal with in that realm. For instance, I'm a Cancer midheaven. That's obviously, I love to let my Cancer energy show. Everybody that is a follower of this channel knows that I'm a Cancer. But I got Mercury and Venus in Leo in the 10th house, you know. So, and look where I'm at. Look what we're doing right now. Perfectly fitting, right? And I'll get on my soapbox sometime and go to tripping. And I love to show out. Y'all know that. So just pay attention, man. Pay attention and you can learn a lot of stuff. So when we talk about having Neptune in the 10th house, man, you know, this could be a really powerful placement, let me tell you. And of course, that could mean some really amazing things where your career status and image gets some really awesome divine intervention and the whole world gets this fantastical perception of you. And whether it just be a facade or not, you know, that's different. Or it could go the other way. You know what I'm saying? It could be devastating where you really face a lot of ridicule because you couldn't be honest with anybody else or yourself. And there's just this immense amount of confusion and misdirection because neither the native, you know, or the motherfucking public, you know who they really are. And this is interesting, man. Let me tell you, this is interesting, you know, and it don't have to be a negative thing like that. Not all the time, man. But like I said, you know, on a lot of cases, it really just simply means that they end up in these Neptune related careers, like a service oriented field or, you know, a social worker or, let me think what else, man, or a healthcare professional, you know. But if we want to dream big, which Neptune could certainly prompt a person to do, let me tell you, man, this is, you know, even more than Neptune in the 5th, let me tell you, because I think I said this with Neptune in the 5th. This is one of the best placements, the absolute best placement when it comes to establishing a successful acting career. I mean, man. But, you know, you're going to have to look at the sign and the cusp and, you know, look at the midheaven here and, you know, think about that. And that'll give you a certainly also more comprehensive view of what you're dealing with in that realm. Okay. But like I said, I don't have this placement. I got Neptune in the 3rd house, but I have the moon in the 5th. And I have Mercury and Venus in the 10th in Leo. So, you know, I'm very familiar with this energy right here. I sometimes like to consider myself a 10th house person. You know, and not a lot of people, you know, claim that. You hear when you're talking to astrologers, they're all going to say, I'm a 9th house person, which I'll probably that. My son's in the 9th house, or they're going to say I'm a 12th house person. You know what I'm saying? I'm a 7th house person, a relationship person. You know what I'm saying? You never hear nobody say they're a 1st house person. You're not selfish. But hey, man. At this point in my life, I'm a 10th house person, as it should be. You know what I'm saying? I'll be 35 next month. So that is what it is, man. You know, and when it comes to these folks' public image, let me say that because the 10th is certainly, you know, gonna do a lot of speaking about, you know, your public image and how you appear to others being the most visible point in the chart. You know, it might not necessarily be who you really are, but the 10th house is how everybody else sees you. You understand? And that's kind of how it goes with that too, man. And, these people are probably seen as somebody who's really sensitive and somebody who's caring and probably somewhat unusual. And, whether they're really even like that, that who knows? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't be able to tell you, man, because, at this, man, you're thinking about Neptune. So when we're thinking about Neptune, you're seeing these people's image. You're seeing how they're seen with everybody here. And so with everybody here, you got to understand, Neptune right here, it can give you a lot of creative talents. It can do a lot of amazing things with you. But it also is saying that, hey, the public ain't seeing you for who you really are. Okay? They're not seeing you as clearly. And maybe you're not seeing yourself as clearly either. Or maybe you're projecting this image on purpose consciously. I don't know. But that's what Neptune in the 10th house also says, man. And whatever the case may be, these are the type of people who are going to dream, about that ideal career path where they can contribute to the world by helping and inspiring others. However, if their chart lacks a significant amount of the earth element, man, it's going to be a really hard time for them to be able to manifest, those dreams into reality and not just be talking or just be thinking about doing something. Okay, it's hard sometimes for these people to, get their foot in the ground and get going. That's also what Neptune is saying here, man. It's like, man, sometimes like you have an issue getting going, but if you trust in spirit, like there's beautiful things that could come in your direction because of that, man. And, a lot of times when I'm looking at Neptune in the 10th, it's telling me that finding their true vocation is going to take a little more time than for most people, man, to the point where they might feel like they're just like lost in their professional lives and they don't know what they're going to do. And, they know, inherently that some 9-to-5 shit is just not for them. If you got Neptune in the 10th, some 9-to-5 stuff is just not for you. And if you keep trying to put yourself into that, it's going to make you frustrated. It's going to bring you a lot of frustration all the time, man. All the time, man. And they want to dance. That's what they want to do, man. That's what they want to do. They want to make music. They want to paint. They want to heal people through piquing their imagination. That's what Neptune in the 10th wants to do, man. Let me tell you something else. I'm going to tell you somebody. Walt Disney. This is a perfect example of somebody that has Neptune in the 10th house, man. And the closer the Neptune is to the actual midheaven, the more fantastical things could really get here, man. This is one of those placements that if you can get past the disillusion and past your own lies or whatever it is you got going on, the facade that you built up, the possibilities. The possibilities, man. Because, think about the imagination. If you could put, one foot in front of the other and put some action behind that imagination, just think about the things that they could do. That's why I said some of the most amazing actors have this placement, man. And on another note than that, and looking even deeper, man, the 10th also speaks that, about one of the parents, and that's usually the father, in my opinion. And with this, their dad or their mom, they were probably a Pisces with this, man. Or, they at least perceived him as somebody that was soft and gentle, but also really impractical and unrealistic and maybe even lazy or untruthful in some cases. And the aspects, they might, with the hard ones, they might say that, they might have had an unstable or an anxious or hysterical or a dishonest or self-destructive parent, or dad right here. And they also could have had a parent or dad that was addicted to drugs or drunk, you know what I'm saying? Or somebody that had just these overly religious views and was really disillusioned and everybody saw it but them. You understand? And in the most extreme cases, they may now be existing on that other plane of existence. You feel me? They might have had a father who's already gone or passed on. They're not on this plane of existence. But if that's the case, then there's still a connection there, and that's something that probably needs to be looked into with you people that have Neptune in the 10th, man. And or their father or one of their parents, the most dominant parent here is what this is going to be. They might be locked up too, but like I said, despite all that, there's a spiritual connection that remains, man. Or completely the opposite. They could just simply not know who their dad is at all. Right here, this could mean that completely, man. Or their mother could have not been fully honest with them about, who they think or who they've always thought their dad is. This is another one, man. You know what I'm saying? And, who the heck their dad really is, maybe that comes out to play later on. So, and if that's going on in your life, you and your mama need to work that out. I'm going to keep it true with you, okay? And to sum this up, though, man, there can be a lot of confusion going on with this, man, because with Neptune in the 10th, man, this is public image. They could also, these people could be seen as somebody that's a drug addict or an alcoholic themselves or a liar or a loose end. You know what I'm saying? And whether that's a fair assessment or not, that's the image they're getting here. And a lot of times, if that's the image they're getting here, that's not who you really are. That's the interesting thing, man. And the biggest concern with me is that, with the way that the Neptune really likes to go with the flow in that little passive, little drifting mode, just likes to chill, man. It can cause a person with this to be too passive, man, and, really not do anything and just sit back and let life just actively pass them on by, because they never actively pursued anything in life at all, man. They never took after any of their goals, man, and they just kind of, it'll come together, and they never made anything happen. You can't do that, man. It's cool to trust your spirituality and all that stuff, but man, at some point, you're going to have to be a go-getter. You understand? You're going to have to be a go-getter. I'm a go-getter. And that's real. That's just as real as it gets, man. And let me also say that, man, if they could just get that imagination in line, they can do amazing things. It doesn't matter how clouded your perception may be. It doesn't matter what you have going on, man, because at the end of the day, when I see this, I also see somebody that has amazing talents that could transcend everything anybody's ever dealt with before right here, to be honest, man. This is somebody that they have the power to hypnotize, man. And whatever way that whatever sign that this Neptune is playing out in this house, man, like this is somebody that has a way, you know what I'm saying? And it could be bad. It could go both ways, man. It could go both ways. But just remember, even if it don't play out like that, just because you built like that, you don't have to build like that. You don't have to feed into any of the negativity. We all have all of this energy available to us in our chart. What you do with it is what you do with it. And even beyond that, it's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. And that's some priceless knowledge in itself. And it's been some priceless knowledge of self. If y'all are interested in the astrological readings whatsoever, you can either hit me up in the comments below, or you can email me at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. And that also goes if you're interested in any merch. But as I always say, man, it's only fair that I tell y'all that you can buy all the merch you want. And hey, I'd love to sell it to you. But you'll probably never be this fly, man, because this type of swag right here, it's got to be in you and not on you. Get in you. Y'all have a good